Good morning. Hello. Yes, it is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo, with yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host. Yeah, okay. Hello. Hi, welcome back. Yes, it is I. Good morning. Oh. Harmonica playing. Yes. Um, welcome. Things look a little different, huh? Things look a little different. This morning, I have indeed added to the structure. Added a bit, just added a few layers. Like, originally it was there, and now there's like 1, 2, 3, like 3 more layers on top. All right, I don't know why. I mean, it just is. All right, okay. And then that's kind of cool. I dig that. I like the reflecting pool. So the reflecting pool is cool. Maybe I might want to move those two guys over to the edges more, so it's more like even. But I think I put them there to like try to discourage the growth the growth of drowned, and I don't think it worked very good. But yeah. Hello, good morning, and welcome to yet another wonderful Sunday. Wonderful. The earth has blessed our land with rain again. Yay! I like the rain. I like the rain. Okay, so what else have I done, right? Okay, so there's this thing here, right? That's pretty nice. That's like a way up. So I don't have to run over there every time to go out. So then we go up here and then go, yeah, like, well, wait a minute. Like, we're in a giant building. Hey, that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. Right? That's kind of spiffy. Okay. And then we can go out the front door and then like, oh, hey, there's our beacon, and there's the cows, and a random chicken. I guarantee it, because foxes will eat them so fast. Like, look at my sheep, right? Look at my sheep. Aren't that my sheep neat? Is that a dog that's just out here doing? That's a cat. What are you doing way out here, cat? But yeah, as I was saying, there's no sheep in here anymore. What happened to all my sheep? I don't know. Maybe a wolf. Yeah, where are all the cats over here? Like, what happened, cats? How, like, what's going on? All right. Oh yeah, hey, check this out. So there's like a building here, and then I like worked on the interior of the roots a little bit. So you still have the iron farm doing its iron farm thing here, as per usual. And it's doing it very well. Thank you very much. But at the same time, now I have these little view slits you can see from outside, and I have like trapdoors to keep the baby zombies from coming in and murdering my villagers. Yeah, and it goes all the way around. It goes to that side too, and it overlooks, I don't know, whatever this is going to be eventually. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I dig it. And then, oh, hey, check it out. That's going to be, I guess, stairs down eventually. And then this over here, there's nothing over there. It's a wall on that side. So like, unless I want to like build this out further, that's just a big fat wall. There's nothing over there. In fact, I have to make sure that these guys aren't spawning on the other side. I don't think they are. No, they're not. But yeah, you can never be sure when I'm doing these revisions. All right. Well, that's working fine. Fine and dandy in my little tree fortress here. Fine and dandy, right? Super nice. Even it goes this way. So yeah, I'm working on it. The revisions are coming. Revisions are happening. And then I cut down some trees around it so that you could better see what's going on here. There are a lot of little trees hanging out around this. You couldn't really see what was happening. So now that I've like cleared out some stuff, it's a little easier to see the glory of the tree. I kind of dig this tree. I think it's it's coming along. It's coming along. At first I was like not so sure about it. But the longer I work on it, the better it gets. So yeah, I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. I mean, yeah, I can continue to work on it. Like, what's this nonsense? Get out of here. Get out of here. I can continue to work on it. Continue to work on the roots to make it better. Like, I can easily expand these roots to come out more and make it into like a proper like area that I can work in. And then maybe I can get some sheep that don't get eaten by wolves. See, look at this guy right here. This guy right here. Right here. This guy right here. Like, he probably spawned. He can't get in here right now, but he probably spawned inside this area and then ate the sheep while inside here. And then despawned. Ah, tricky. So I made this area too big, is what I'm saying. And then wolves spawned inside and killed the sheep. So if I make sheep pen, I have to make them smaller. And if I want to make a chicken coop, I have to make a chicken coop. I can't just put chickens in here because foxes jump over these fences. So yeah. Oh yeah, along the way, I picked up some undead horses. So that's kind of nice, right? Undead horse. Pretty cool. It's not living. It's not dead. It's undead. Put these guys over here for now. My lone pig. My lone piggy. All right. I guess you can call these guys like motorcycles. Because like there's not actually motorcycles in the game. But this is the closest thing you're gonna get to a motorcycle, an undead horse. All right. Well, hey, that's pretty good. So yeah, like I don't know what this is yet, but it's coming along. I like the little like passageway from the house into the fortress. Like, is this a house? Like, what is this? I don't know. But I like how it's like centered on the pool. Ooh, the fish are there. When fish are there, it's good fishing time. It's time to fish. When fish are not there and you try to fish, it takes forever. This, I don't know what this is. It feels like it's a balcony. Like, I want to go outside here. But right now, if I do, I'm like, ugh. So, I don't know. Maybe what this is a train station, and I didn't realize it. Like, it's a train station. And you got to go out this way, and all the train lines go out that way. So if this is a train station, I have to make a gold farm nearby or something, and I have to make a gold farm, a mining operation here, like a proper mining operation. But I don't really want to make a mining operation here because that's a lot of lag. I mean, all those item sorters going at once with the iron farm. I mean, I did it before with no problem wasn't a problem before. So, all right, sure. So yeah, what's been going on in the world? Russia, Putin has not yet invaded Ukraine. Some people say that he could be waiting for the Chinese to finish their Winter Olympics, so that he's waiting out of respect to not piss off the Chinese before starting a war. Right? Kind of hard to have games of peace when when one of the countries is at war with other countries. So, yeah. So Putin might be, and Putin does not want to piss off the Chinese because the Chinese are a rival to Russia. China is a rival to Russia. And they don't, Russia does not necessarily want to be friends with China. They don't really like each other. They don't trust each other. um so that if that's the case, that's good, right? That gives, any delay is good. Any kind of delay is good. The longer they wait, the better it is. Because in order for Putin to wage war successfully, armored war successfully in Ukraine, for a successful invasion, he has to go during wintertime because all the ground is frozen. So if the ground is frozen, it's easy to drive tanks over it. But in the spring, all that stuff melts and becomes boggy marsh. muddy. You can't drive things over it. You can't drive like cars over it. And tanks are going to get all dirty and messed up with mud all over it. So, they'll work, but it's going to be gross. And it's going to slow you down. And it'll make tank warfare really, really hard. So, if Putin wants to go, he should have went like early winter. But the longer he waits, the worse it's going to, the smaller his window is. Like maybe he doesn't need a big window. Like maybe he doesn't think he needs a big window, but I think he miscalculated. I think Ukraine is more ready than Putin realizes. Ukraine has more support than Ukraine realized than he realized. More people, the West is coming together a lot better than he was hoping. He was hoping that Donald Trump would still be in office. Putin was hoping Donald Trump would still have power in the United States, and that Donald Trump would continue to do what he could to wreck NATO, because that's what Donald Trump did. He tried to wreck NATO for Putin. NATO is the counterweight to Russia. If it wasn't for NATO, Russia would come and conquer all the little countries. Because Russia's big, so Russia could do it. One-on-one, Russia could take any one of those countries. One-on-one. And that's what that's what Putin wants to do. He wants one-on-one confrontations. Putin cannot have the whole group of them gang up against Russia. Russia can't win then. So Putin's long game was to install puppets into the various parts of the West in order to fracture the alliance so that they couldn't come together to face the Russian assault. Donald Trump spent his entire time in office criticizing our allies, criticizing NATO, and cozying up to right-wing dictators. That's what he did, because Donald Trump's goal was Putin's goal, which was to weaken NATO so Putin can take over Eastern Europe and the rest of Europe. Donald Trump is owned by Putin. Got to remember that. Donald Trump is owned by Putin. So the whole thing was supposed to be Donald Trump in office, and he tried real hard to get in office. He tried rigging. He tried to use all sorts of voter suppression. He tried lying. And when that didn't work, he tried to literally overthrow the government with a coup, which is what we're which is like being sorted out right now with the January 6th Commission, and I guess with a bunch of what's it called, criminal hearings. So the January 6th Commission has no powers of prosecution. It can't prosecute any crimes it finds. It can't do anything. You know, all it can do is hold hearings. And refer things to the Department of Justice. But the people are gonna know what's gonna happen. That's the point. Oh shit! It crashed. Did it crash? How much did it crash? It crashed enough that I need to restart it. Close this window. All right. Yeah, guy, I gotta work on this. Let's see. I wonder why it crashed. Is it gonna load up all the extensions? Can't even load. Look at that. All right, here. Let's see what happens. I'm still alive. Let me check this out. Yeah, see, like I'm not utilizing too much of my GPU. It's not overheating. I don't understand why it would crash. Why Minecraft would crash. It's not overheating. I have it locked to 60 frames per second. And like I'm not even using all of my GPU, even though I'm encoding at the same time. Like I could probably go more frames per second and make it easier on me. Okay. So the January 6th Commission is doing its thing. And it's going to let the people know what's going on. And I think that's important so that when the Department of Justice does move in to arrest Donald Trump, that people aren't going to freak out. They're going to know why it's happening. That it's not just some random thing. Like the January 6th Commission will have shown you how many ways Donald Trump tried to overthrow the United States. He was doing it, like I want to say he's doing it for Putin. I can't really prove it, but there's a whole bunch of lines that show a connection. The Mueller report, the Senate Select Committee report. Yeah, there's a bunch of intelligence. Yeah, there's a bunch of lines that point to Donald Trump working, and the Republicans working with the Russians to overthrow our country and to stop NATO. Because really, Putin doesn't really care about the United States. He cares about NATO. He wants NATO to not be there so Putin can eat the rest of Europe. This is like a bigger thing than just the United States. I know people in America like don't really like, things are pretty rough here. It's hard to have the spare capacity to look beyond what's going on in your daily life. It's because it's really rough. It's really tough. Like I had a neighbor who was like in his 50s. Like he had to work during COVID, but his work was downtown, which is like, I don't know, like 5-10 miles away from here. It's a 15-minute car drive. But if you don't have a car and you have to take the bus, it takes like an hour to go to work to make minimum wage. And he's like 50 something, and he's like busting his ass. And then he has to take a bus back if they run late at night. If they don't run late at night, he has to, and he can't get a ride, he has to walk back. Man, it was awful. Like, that's what happened. And then, so do you think a guy like that is going to have time to care about what's going on in Europe? Like, hey buddy, how's your bum leg? You gonna make rent this week? Like, this month? Like, yeah, you got enough food? By the way, have you been paying attention to what's been going on in Russia and in Europe? Like, what does he care? Like, he's trying to keep a roof over his head. His roommate is yelling at him because he's not paying rent on time. And he had to call in sick to work because his knee had like gone out. So he's got no money. He's like 50 something. He's got like no health care. His roommate is bugging him for money. He doesn't care what's going on in Europe. He doesn't care about the intricacies of foreign relations. Like, the guy's gonna be homeless. He's got to move back to Portland and like try to get help there. You know, lean on someone he knows there. Like, geez. Do you think his roommate? Do you think his roommate, who's got like, look from his roommate's perspective, he's got to cover this rent coming up. He's busting his ass. His roommate, who he was depending on to help pay for this rent, is not coming through. So he's got to find money to cover the rent because his roommate's not doing it. And now his roommate's got to move out while he looks for someone else to take his roommate's place so he can afford to keep living where he's living. Do you think he cares about what's going on in Europe? I don't blame people for not, like, it's hard. It's hard to see, like, to have the energy to stop looking at your immediate surroundings in survival instinct, survival mode, making sure like I'm not going to be homeless. I'm going to eat. Like, people aren't going to steal my shit. Like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get some help for my bum knee. Like, my roommate's not going to be on my back anymore. Like, all these worries. Like, then you got to lift up your head out of this and be like, oh yeah, what's going on way over there, so I can understand how it connects here. When this whole time there's a machine dedicated, a media machine dedicated to stop me from knowing what's going on over there. It tells me the exact opposite thing of what's going on over there. Like, how's this guy supposed to, like, know? Oh, geez, I feel so bad. So I don't blame people for not like being on top of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot to keep in track of. All right. The first one I want to show you, which I think is hilarious, is this one. I saw this on Twitter from Ken Clipperstein. Workers lost $3.7 trillion in earnings during the pandemic. Women and Gen Z saw the biggest losses. So the pandemic wrecked the poorest people in our society, the poorest, weakest people in our society. The pandemic wrecked, and they lost $3.7 trillion in earnings, in money. At the same time, world's billionaires get richer by $3.9 trillion during the pandemic. Wait a minute. The poorest people lost 3.7 trillion, and the billionaires got 3.9 trillion. Oh, shit. I wrecked the joke. Oh, damn it. If workers lost 3.7 trillion and billionaires found 3.9 trillion, where did that money go? Where did that money go? If all these people lost 3.7 trillion and these like handful of people found 3.9 trillion, what happened? Make the connection. You're not going to see visible lines. You're not going to see actual strings, literal strings from the money, from the pockets of all the people that go to the billionaires. You're not going to actually touch it. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. You can't see it. You have to use your reason to understand the relationships. And then when you understand the relationships, it's real easy to see how a whole bunch of people collectively could lose 3.7 trillion and a handful of people can find 3.9 trillion at the same time. Use your reason. You won't see it. There's nothing physical to touch. It's bigger than that. All right. Yeah, I'm working on farmland right there too. I kind of expanded it a bit. I even got the like little lowland in there. The flooding will take it, but it never floods in Minecraft. Ha ha ha. Okay. Let's see. What else do I got? Oh yeah. Oh, what is all this stuff? I don't even know. Okay. Speaking of the things going on in with Russia. So I saw this from Empty Wheel, and she was noting that, wait a minute, Russia wants to have a bunch of war games off the coast of Ireland. So here's Ireland, here's the coast of Ireland. All of these lines here are telecommunications lines, fiber optics, telephone lines, big cables to send data from the United States, presumably, to Europe. And Russia scheduled to have war games right off the coast, right here. They want to have war games right here. You know how all the lines went right through here? That's exactly where Russia wanted to have its war games. Like, what happens if they accidentally drop something and destroy all of these lines? What if they go oops and drop something and cut these lines? Oh no, we accidentally cut the lines. Sorry guys. Sorry guys, it will take you months to fix this. Sorry, by the way, we're having a war in Ukraine. So like, people were freaking out. But then, where'd it go? Oh, where's that? See, I should have did this ahead of time. Oh, damn it. I wreck all my jokes this way. Okay. There it is, that one. But then Ireland sent its fishermen into that area, into the area that Russia was going to have its war games. And Ireland said, no, dudes, you cannot have your war games there. We're fishing. This is our fishing zone. Screw your war. Get out of here with your big battleships and submarines, nuclear crap. Get out of here. Get out of here. We're fishing. This is our traditional fishing land. Get out of here. And everyone's like, oh, what are you doing? And Russia said, okay, Ireland, sorry, we won't do it. Sorry, never mind. We'll go away. So Ireland scared away the Russian Navy. Ireland scared away the Russian Navy with his fishing boats. That's hilarious. Here's that other thing. Remember how I was saying this one? Workers lost 3.7 trillion. World's billionaires get richer by 3.9 trillion. Here's another one. McDonald's, now with higher prices, topped 23 billion in revenue. Profits soared 59%. So during the pandemic, McDonald's raised their prices not because they had to, but because they could, and their profits went insane. It went 59%, 60% higher profits from a year before. They love the pandemic because they can say inflation and then raise prices and make a ton of money. It's not really inflation, but they can make more money, and they did. They made more money. They extracted more profits. So it's not hard to figure out where this money is going. How many people own McDonald's? How many people eat at McDonald's? Not a lot of people own McDonald's, but a lot of people eat at McDonald's. Okay, this one here. So that's all in acrylic. And that guy is Yuri Gagarin. Yuri Gagarin. He was the first man in space. He's Russian. He is the first man in space. He is like a hero to the Russian people. He was the first guy. He beat all the Americans. He beat everyone. He was the first guy in space. Like, it was scary, and he was the first guy to do it and come back alive. He did it. So here he's saying, hello, comrades. Hello, my country folk. Hello, my descendants. Descendants of the first cosmonaut, the first human in space. Hello. Like, how are you? Have you gone to Mars yet? Have you made it to Mars yet? Because he's Yuri. He's Yuri Gagarin. He wants to go. He's the first guy in space. He expects the USSR to be awesome. And then he's like, so have you made it to Mars yet? And then over here he says, wait, you're waging war against who? Ukraine? What? Your fellow countrymen? What? So Yuri Gagarin, yeah, he's a hero. He was the first human ever in space, the first human in space. And like, if you understand how shoddy the USSR, the Soviet vessels were, if you understood how shoddy they were, it's amazing he survived. Like, I can't believe he survived his trip. Because the next trip, they had another trip planned. They had another trip planned with this guy right here. His name is Vladimir Komarov. Vladimir Komarov. He and Yuri Gagarin were friends. They were great friends. And he worked really, really hard. He was a brilliant scientist. This guy was a scientist. He performed a bunch of tests. Like, he believed really strongly in the ideals of USSR, I guess. He believed strongly in the ideals. So he and Yuri were friends, and he was the next guy to go on the next trip in outer space. And the Soviets had a plan. Their plan was this guy, Vladimir, would fly into outer space, go around the Earth a few times, and then the next day, the Soviets would shoot up another rocket. They would meet Vladimir in orbit. Vladimir would move from one ship to the other ship and then come back to Earth, and then the other vessel finally would come back to Earth by itself with the third guy in it. So they would swap out pilots basically in orbit. Well, in the months leading up to the launch, Yuri Gagarin, the guy not going in the ship, he's not going in it. He's the backup guy. His friend, Vladimir Komarov, he is going in the ship. And they're inspecting the ship, and they're going, yeah, this thing's all messed up. There's all these problems. The hole is too small for the cosmonaut to get in and out safely while he's wearing all this stuff. All the stuff in here, you need to change all this stuff. That stuff over there, you need to change this stuff. This part right here, you got to change that or it's not going to work. All these things, these two national heroes were giving good information, good input into the program, but it would delay the program to make these changes. So the people who got the information from the national heroes, it was their job to pass it up to the boss, who was a KGB guy at the very, very top. The KGB is like the secret police. And every time someone gave the boss bad news, that guy would either get killed, be demoted, or get sent off to Siberia. Every time. So nobody wanted to give him bad news. It's not that the bad news stopped happening, it's that no one wanted to give it to the boss. So this bad news came down. Oh, hey, boss, in order to make our ship flyable and survivable, we need to do a bunch of changes, and that will delay our program. That would make the boss really angry because he wanted to beat the Americans to get into outer space. He wanted to go quick to be faster than the Americans who are doing the same thing. So the boss, the KGB boss, did not want to hear bad news about a delay. So Yuri and Vladimir gave all this good information about changes that needed to happen, but it never got up the chain because anyone who gave it to the boss got punished. So it went on as scheduled. None of the changes happened. And Yuri knew that anyone who went up there was going to die. And that was his friend, Vladimir Komarov. So the day of the launch, Yuri Gagarin showed up on the launch pad in full suit, insisting that he take the place. But the Soviet leaders would not let it happen because he was the national hero. And what would that do to the people if their national hero died in a space accident? Nope. They couldn't risk it. So, and Vladimir Komarov knew that he was going to die. But he also knew that if he didn't go in, Yuri was going to take his place and go die in his place. So Vladimir Komarov got in the space capsule he knew was gonna not work, and he flew into space. And as soon as he got into space, the problem started happening. The solar panel didn't deploy, so he only had one solar panel, so he didn't have enough power to do anything. So the nav computers didn't work. So all these things were like broken. All these things were broken as he was going around. So they kept trying to. So the next day, because there's all these problems, the Soviets didn't send up the second rocket that would have relieved Vladimir off of the broken ship. They never sent it up. They just left him up there. So the dude went around the Earth like 13 times trying to figure out ways to get his broken ass machine to work enough for him to get back into orbit. But it didn't matter because the machine was his capsule was broken. When it went back in, it wasn't gonna protect him. He was gonna it wasn't gonna protect him. It wasn't gonna stop anything. So he was gonna get it was gonna heat up and get cooked. So he knew this. So as he's going around the Earth for 13 days or whatever, he's on the phone talking to his wife and kids, telling him that he loves them. He's talking to the leader, and they're crying together on the phone. And the Americans are listening. They don't know what's going on, but they're listening in on their spy stuff, and they can hear a little bit of what's happening. And as the last chance is this guy is gonna try to eyeball it to try to guide his capsule back into Earth orbit. And he's doing it, but the capsule's heating up. And as it's heating up, the Americans can hear the guy cursing out his country for sending him on a doomed mission. And he's reporting out it's getting hotter and hotter. Eventually, because what happens is the parachutes never deploy. The parachutes that's supposed to stop the capsule and have it slow down, they never deploy. They don't work. Nothing works on that thing. So the capsule slammed into the Earth full speed. It never stopped, like a meteor. And this is his remains. This is what was left. Space travel is hard. Vladimir Komarov sacrificed himself knowingly to save his friend. This guy right here. So what happened? Yuri Gagarin went crazy. He didn't go crazy, but he utilized his privilege. He was a national hero. So he utilized his privilege. He had no real power, but he was a national hero. So he used his privilege to criticize the Russians and the Soviets and the Soviet leadership. He criticized it harshly, up and down, criticized, said nothing but bad stuff about the Soviets and the Soviet program and the Soviet leadership. So what happened? In a couple months, mysteriously, during a routine flight, the plane that Yuri is flying crashes and he dies mysteriously after he criticizes the Russians for sending his friend off to die. Not the Russians, the Soviets. After he criticized the Soviets for sending his friend off to die in a doomed space capsule that everyone knew was broken. So that's why I think this one hits hard. This one hurts. Because this is a hero, dude. This is Yuri Gagarin. He was the first guy in outer space, and he survived. He went in those rickety-ass Soviet space capsules into outer space, and he made it back alive to tell the tale. And they threw him away. They just threw him away for it. They just threw him away. All right, what else do I got here? Oh, this is my jokey one. I should have saved this for the end. Damn it. Now for something completely different. Guy in Plato's cave. Okay, but what if I owned one of these shadows on the wall with the blockchain? And Diogenes. How do you say that? Diogenes? Diogenes? holding up a monkey JPEG with no intrinsic value. Behold, an asset. Okay, so this guy Diogenes is famous because Plato is trying to be all serious and say that, oh yeah, man, he's trying to like categorize like all life. He's trying to figure out stuff. He's like, well, what if man is like a featherless bird, like a because it stands up on 2 feet, but it has no feathers. So this guy, he was like a drunk, Diogenes, he comes up, takes a plucked chicken and goes, holds it up and goes, behold, a man. That's the joke. So they're making the whole same joke. So Plato's like, so these blockchain guys are like, because you know Plato's algorithm. Oh man, never mind. What's this one? I don't know. Oh yeah, how I can't afford to buy a house anymore. In 2012, the minimum wage was $7.25, and to buy a house was $150,000. Now, in 2022, to buy a house, it's a $500,000. Minimum wage is $7.25. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if you raise minimum wage, then houses will become $1 million. Like, you have to tax them you have to tax the rich from the top. It's no use raising the bottom if you don't also tax the top. If you don't also tax the top, they just suck it back up. Every time. What's this one? Immunization charts. So these charts tell you the vaccinations that infants to preschool age children get. So from birth, you get the hepatitis B vaccine. Then 1 month later, you get the second hepatitis B vaccine. And then you get the rotavirus vaccine at 2 months old, along with the DTaP, the HIB, the pneumococcal, the polio vaccine. At 4 months old, you get your next doses of these vaccine. At 6 months old, you get your next dose of Hep B and all these ones. And then you get a flu vaccine. At a year old, you get boosters. And you get measles. And you get chickenpox. When I was a kid, they didn't have a chickenpox vaccine. I got chickenpox. I have chickenpox scars on my arms. And Hep A vaccine. Yeah, when I was a kid, they didn't have the chickenpox vaccine. And I got real sick for like 2-3 weeks. Like all the kids in my family did. Okay, and then at 4 to 6 years old, you get other boosters. So all these adults, I hear all these adults, right? There was a big caravan I heard up in Canada of like white supremacists. So all these because basically that's what it means now. Anti-vax has morphed into like white privilege, white supremacy. Just like anti-mask has warped into white privilege type of thing. Like people with white privilege display their white privilege by not wearing a mask. People with white privilege display their white privilege by not getting a vaccine. So if infants can get a vaccine, but these adults are afraid, it shows you how smart they are, which is not very, because babies, infants, newborns get vaccines. Dudes, newborns get these things. Little pansies, you can't handle it? Jeez. What's this one? It's not inflation when big corporations are having the highest profits in many years. It's called price gouging. Yeah. See, I should have ordered this ahead of time. And this last one. The true cause of inflation. Things that you need. Little to no consumer control. Corporations charge abusively inflated prices because consumers can't say no to the basic necessities of life. Price changes January 2000 to December 2021. So if we look at how prices changed, more expensive, hospitals become more expensive, college more expensive, books expensive, medical care expensive, childcare expensive. Average hourly wages have gone up about 100%. You know, we're going to say about double, right? We're going to say wages doubled in this time. But all these things more than doubled. Housing almost doubled. Food almost doubled. Medicare more than doubled. Medical care more than doubled. Things that got cheaper. Well, new cars got a little bit more expensive. Household furnishings got a little more expensive. And all this stuff got cheaper. But you don't need this stuff. You don't need it to live. You could go without this stuff. You don't need this stuff. You need medical care. You need housing. You need food. You need education. You need like hospitals. You need medical. You need childcare in order to work. Without childcare, you can't get hourly wages. So all the things that got cheaper are things you don't need. And all the things got more expensive are the things you need. So and there's no consumer control on the things that you need. But there's lots of things, you know, I don't know about lots of things, but whatever. So there's not really inflation. There's corporations making more money because they can. Okay. So I'm going to end this with a poem. And it's a poem I've done a bunch of times. You know, I've done this a bunch of times already. But I see it's gotten a few hits on YouTube. So I want to like put it out there. I've already said what I need to say. I've already gone through all my slides. I should have put it in order better to make a better presentation. But yeah, the more I learn. All right. Let me go back up. Everyone knows Alice in Acidland, right? That's the poem that I'm infamous for. It's funny because I used a story from a movie. I used a story from a French movie to put into my poem. And then a movie used a line from my poem to put into their movie. Like I took the story of the man falling off the building from a French movie called La Haine. And in my poem, I use a line about gorillas being vegetarian. And that line got used in the movie Black Panther. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's awesome. It's funny to see how the creativity flows, how it went through, how one thing inspires another thing, inspires another thing. Like that's cool. That's cool. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's cool. And it's hilarious. It's a great line. It's great. So, anyways, here, let me do it. Let me do the poem. Let me do the poem. All right, Alice in Acidland. Oh man, it's been so long. I should have looked at it first. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Goes the clock. Time stops. Ball drops. Then, bam! You're not in Kansas anymore, Alice. A little blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl sits all alone in a packed bar the day the world ended, staring blankly at the Jack and Coke she's afraid to drink because the caffeine will keep her awake, and if she can still... Wait. How's it go? Oh, man, I get it mixed up with the other mirror image of it. I get it mixed. See, I should have looked at it first. You know what? Why don't I just pull it up so I can, like, not be dumb? I don't even. I mean, I can do a search like that, but like. Oh no! Check it out. There's like a book called Alice in Acid Land. That's funny. Lewis Carroll Revisited. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. It's my own poem that I wrote a lot, like back in 1999. Da 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 da. It's funny I can't remember it, but I haven't looked at it in like the longest time. Oh no! Don't show everyone. Don't show everyone. Okay. Okay. No. What is this one? This is the wrong one. Man, do I have a physical copy? Here, books. Look at my books. Okay, all right. Here we go. No. Okay. I got it. Okay. Alice in Acid Land. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Goes the clock. Time stops. Ball drops. And bam! You're not in Kansas anymore, Alice. A little blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl sits all alone in a packed bar the day the world ended. Staring blankly at the Jack and Coke she's afraid to drink because the caffeine will keep her awake, and if she can't sleep, well then, what the hell good is death if you can't test drive it? And she listens with deaf ears to a mute black Frenchman who tells a wordless story he can't, because he never existed. He's not here long enough to use his heart, foot, and mouth, tongue, throat, lips, whispering of the 500-pound gorilla sitting in the middle of the room that nobody talks about. This 500-pound gorilla mashing poor little Fluffy, the wonder poodle. Oh, Fluffy. Let's all pause in a moment of silence in fond remembrance of our dear Fluffy. Nah, fuck it. Fluffy's life was used to barter for a product she didn't even know existed. She was misled into believing that her small bones would cause the gorilla to choke and die. Oh, Fluffy. If you had only known, gorillas are vegetarian. And still, nobody says anything. Oh, they pretend it doesn't exist. That the screams of Uncle Joe being pummeled are just our imagination. And the impenetrable silence left in his wake, it's just him stepping outside for a smoke. So anyways, this is not their mute black Frenchman telling a wordless story to deaf Alice, who sways soberly upon her bar stool, and the story goes like this. A man jumps off a 40-story building. Every story he passes up, he reassures himself by saying, ah! Up to this point, everything is fine. Ah! Up to this point, everything is fine. Ah! Up to this point, everything is fine. The man lives in the moment, for the moment, outside the moment, because at the moment everything is not fine. He won't be around to realize it. He can't bear to look before he screams, or raining down upon the brow of a little girl named Alice choked back Alice choked back a gasp of surprise because the Coke left Jack all alone in the glass, which she drank with a grin because now she can become blissfully unaware of the fact that oh, Jesus Christ. We're all alone. So the not there mute black Frenchman grabs Alice by the hair and screams with deafening silence, How did I do? And Alice pats the man on his not their back and says, "It doesn't matter. It's all for fun anyways, right?" Which would have infuriated the man had he existed long enough to hear what she had to say. And the gorilla is sniffing poppers and telling other patrons of the bar there's nothing wrong with taking drugs to excessive levels. And just who in the hell is Harry Butts? By this point, the whole world had gathered around. By this point, the whole world had gathered around the not there mute black Frenchman, balancing sanity on a razor blade made of poppy seeds, and though he speaks a wordless tongue still, nobody gets his drift. It's the world that's falling down that 40-story building, and society reassures itself by saying, "Ah! Up to this point, everything's fine. Ah! Jusqu'ici, tu vas bien. Ah! Jusqu'ici, tu vas bien. Ah! Jusqu'ici, tu vas bien." The emperor, he has no clothes. But then again, shit, neither do we. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year. Please be sure your crash helmets are securely fastened, you have your seats in the upright positions, and you have your head tucked firmly between your knees. Take a deep breath of that nitrous oxide. Because if you can appreciate the gravity of the situation, then you realize this is going to hurt. Anyways, all right, the end. All right, that was my poem. I'm pretty rusty on it. It's been a while, right? But like, I have nowhere to go. Like, yeah. So, anyways, that's my poem. Thanks for hanging out. I will catch you another time. Okay, Pogo Kiddo out. Peace. Da-da-da. Stop.